everyone, Lucimus Prime here, so it's time for the next episode of my series, Video Game That Deserves a Sequel. And in today's video, I thought I would cover this time another example of a video game which is an Xbox One exclusive when it comes to console, because it's also on Windows PC as well. This is a game which was released in 2014, which is, wow, it's nearly 10 years ago, because it came out in October 2014. Which is a game which I would love to see sequel to, which of course involves like a comedic take on the apocalypse in like a cartoon sort of thing, really. And the game of course involves parkour in an open world. And this game, which I would love to see a sequel to, is none other than 2014's Sunset Overdrive. So you guys are going to be asking me, of course, what are my thoughts on this game. So this was one of the first games I played on Xbox One when I first got an Xbox One in 2014. And I've got to say that, in my opinion, it's one of their best exclusives. Although, personally, in my opinion, this game deserves to be on all consoles as well as Xbox. Or maybe I could say not on Xbox at all, because as you guys know, I don't like Xbox anymore. This is, of course, my old copy of it when I used to play it. So, when it comes, of course, to what the game means to me, it's one of my favourite games of all time. And is, in my opinion, one of the best games made by the company Insomniac as well. I think it's what I'd probably describe as an underrated gem, because I personally think it deserves a lot more attention, and I think it's definitely amazing all these years later, because I think it holds up really well due to its great graphics, because, as I just said guys, this game's like an open world cartoon game, so the fact it's like a cartoon styled game is why I personally think it holds up, because it doesn't have to worry about, you know, lots of detail, because cartoons are cartoons, and in my opinion they hold up fantastically, because you don't have to worry about so much detail for them, really. So I think it holds up beautifully in that sense, with a great character you can customise to be whoever you want, and also a really fun story, because in this open world, guys, there's no rules whatsoever. You can just have lots of fun. You can do story mode, and you can do side missions, you can do whatever you want, really, and it's so much fun to do. So I'd recommend it strongly if you guys have not played it, absolutely. If you guys are on an Xbox or on PC, it's definitely, in my opinion, a must-play game. It's a big shame it's not on PlayStation, indeed. When it comes, of course, to why I think it does a sequel, then, it's because the ending, of course, has a scene in which, of course, the company called Physical, which is responsible for of course, the outbreak of course, the ODs, which are people infected, of course, by the fizzy drink, which is actually infectious, and of course creates like a zombie-inspired style of outbreak, really, called overcharged drinkers, where basically at the end of the game, when it's over after the credits, we see computers in the headquarters for the company automatically activating a protocol which sends physical helicopters full of overcharged drinks around the world, which was definitely, in my opinion, a really cool foreshadowing for a worldwide outbreak of course, the OD. So that was definitely clearly right there a setup for more to come. So I really do hope that a sequel does happen in that sense, really, because of that. So when it comes, of course, to a future, then, what I said on my review still stands today, being that if they do a sequel to this game, I will only play it if it's on PlayStation, because personally, I think this game does not deserve to be just on Xbox, because it's so good. It deserves to be played by every gamer there is. Not just Xbox gamers, but gamers in general, because it's, in my opinion, a video game masterpiece. And I don't think it's fair how it's only on Xbox. So I will only play the sequel if it comes onto PlayStation, and I'm hoping it'll have like a PS5 release too, because, especially because Insomniac, of course, are now making their games exclusively for Sony consoles, because obviously they've done Spider-Man games for Sony's consoles, and also Ratchet & Clank and Resistance. So I really hope as well that when it comes to this game's sequel, they'll also release that on PS5 as well. I really hope so. And I can imagine, and as well, it'll hopefully be really good. I just really hope they don't involve Sweet Baby Inc., as I call Sweet Baby Stink in the game like they did to Spider-Man 2. Because that, in my opinion, was why the game went downhill compared to the masterpiece first Spider-Man game, which is my favourite Insomniac game. So I really hope that this game has the same team that made the first game, and the same directors, of course, which are, of course, Marcus Smith and Drew Murray. And they have also expressed interest in doing sequels too, as well. Because, unfortunately, it's not been a priority for Insomniac in recent times, because after this game, of course, they've done things, of course, like the Spider-Man games and Ratchet & Clank. They've unfortunately not done sequels to this, which really sucks. So I really hope they do a sequel very soon, because I think it definitely deserves one on this game. Even though this year it'll be 10 years since the first game came out, I think it's more than deserving of a sequel, in my opinion. because this game is so much fun, and even 10 years later, it holds up really well, in my opinion. It's definitely worth playing if you guys have not played it. For me, it's an underrated masterpiece. If you want to hear me showing pure love for the game, then please check out my review for the game I did last year. Because I think it's an absolute masterpiece that deserves a lot more love and attention. So, I will only play the sequel if it comes onto PlayStation. Because as you guys know, I no longer play on Xbox anymore, so I can't play it if it gets released on Xbox. So I hope it gets a PlayStation release. And it would make sense due to Insomniac releasing their games on Sony consoles nowadays. I think it makes sense. I also would love it if they also put this game on PS5 as well. Maybe give it like a remastered patch or something. Maybe give it like a PS4 release backwards compatible on PS5. Or maybe release on PS5 anyway, really. Just like a port on PS5. I wouldn't want to remake it because I personally think the game is great. It doesn't need to be remade, in my opinion. It just needs a PlayStation port, to be completely honest. Like, I can totally see it working on PlayStation, really. Because gameplay-wise, think of it as like a Spider-Man game, just without the web swinging. Because it's full of parkour and lots of really fun action. And of course, using different weapons as well, really. It's funny when I say Spider-Man game because the main character of this game's male voice is the same voice as Spider-Man in the game's Yuli Wemful, which is pretty awesome. Pretty cool coincidence. So, yeah, all in all, though, guys, Sunset Overdrive for me is a big example of a game that deserves sequels. And I can see lots of ideas with it. So, like, maybe introduce a new city. And I think the open world Sunset City has also aged really well too because it's an original city, not based on any real-life cities. So the cities it's based on are not going to change because it's literally based on itself. It's a fictional city, really. So I think it's going to age really well. And even 10 years later, I think it still has aged really well too. Especially because the game story takes place in 2027, which is, wow, it's 3 years away from now. Goodness me. So I think it's aged really well. And I wouldn't say no to a sequel being released in that year, actually, as a reference to the first game taking place in that year. So all I can say is, please give me this sequel all day, every day, because I really would love to play it, absolutely, on PlayStation, though. And I wouldn't say no to playing the game again on PlayStation, the first game, if it gets support to PlayStation, because it's a great game that's worth playing. So, I would love to see a sequel to this game. So guys, this is me doing the next episode of Video Game that deserves a sequel. I was saying why, in my opinion, Sunset Overdrive is a big example I can say of a game that deserves sequels. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to talk in the comments what you guys think of Sunset Overdrive. Do you think it needs a sequel or not? Leave in the comments below. Also, be sure to join the team by pressing subscribe in the future. And I'll see you all later.